never had to rebel. You know, I had loving parents, and even though we were really poor, you know, I remember being hungry, but I never remember missing a meal. You know, so their supportive environment freed me from having to rebel. There was nothing to rebel against. They saw my passion, and they wanted me to follow that. Apart from my parents, when I decided that I was going to be a musician, yeah, probably several people, you know. Jacques Cousteau, John and Paul, Crosby and Stephen and Neil and Joni. You know, they were all very influential in my life. My music feeds my paintings, which feed my photographs, which feed my sculpting. Yeah, everything's the same. And I personally don't see the difference between taking a fine photograph or writing a fine song. It's all this column of energy. Where do I want to plug in today? And that way I don't get writer's cramp or writer's block. You know, because if I'm not writing songs, or if the chorus that I'm trying to figure out isn't coming, I'll go and do something else. With painting, it's kind of a space of thinking and not thinking. You know, I'm not thinking because I'm just painting, but then my mind starts to subconsciously work on the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, writing in this song, and therefore I have space to think. You know, so one does in fact feed the other, yes. I've never really been a man to look backwards, because I don't particularly care about what happened yesterday. There isn't much you can do about it, you know. And I'm much more interested in the song I'm writing now and the show I'm going to do tomorrow night at the Albert Hall than I am about what you know, writing Our House 45 years ago. But when I was writing the prose, I got to the end of the manuscript and I looked down it, and I honestly said, wow, I wish I was him. There was no doubt that when David and Stephen and I first sang together, we knew instantly that first of all, that I would have to spend time with these two maniacs, and secondly, that time was probably going to be a long time. The vocal sound that me and David and Stephen created happened instantly. We were at Joni's living room, and David said to Stephen, "Play Willie that song," you know, and they sang this song, "You Don't Have to Cry," which was on the first record, and they did a great job of it. And I asked them to sing it again, and then I asked them to sing them a third time, and then by the time we sang it they sang it twice, and then we did the third time with me singing. We stopped and started laughing. It was so silly. It was ridiculously beautiful. I mean, right from the word go, and you know. But that's typical of my life. I thoroughly expect the universe to support me and love me and make me make strange left turns, you know, where I don't really know where I'm going, but I'm confident enough that something magic will happen. You know, it's been that way all my life. We're communicators. We need to touch our audience's heart, because that's what happens to us when we write songs. You know, I'm a very severe critic of my own work. You know, so if a song makes it past me, I stand a good chance of, you know, reaching you with it. The demographics of our audience, which we worked out about 2 months ago, was between 14 and 70. You know, and when you see 14-year-old kids in there singing the words to songs that you'd written 45 years ago, you know, you begin to realize that perhaps what we believe is that no matter how much backstabbing and, you know, a bad way we've treated each other or glorious ways we've treated each other, the most important part of our relationship is the music that we make. And when you see young kids singing the words to stuff you wrote years ago, as a writer, it's thrilling, because, you know, the truth is we're not Johnny Depp up there. You know, no one's coming to see us, you know, as a sex symbol, you know, so it must be the music, right?
Yeah.
That's what's most important. When you shoot 4 kids down at Kent State, and we write Ohio and sing Ohio, well, Neil wrote Ohio, but we made the record and put it out and killed our own single in an attempt to get it out onto the street immediately. I had my single Teach Your Children going up, it was already in the top 20. It's going up to the top. But we thought that when America starts killing its own children, that's much more, important to talk about than having a hit single. So, when Stephen wrote For What It's Worth, or David wrote Long Time Gone, or I wrote Chicago, are those political songs or are those human songs? Because it's easy to put us in a box. Everybody needs to put you in a pigeonhole, so they can understand it and deal with it. But we've never liked being in boxes. This is all controlled by the media. This is all bread and circuses. Give the people a little bread to eat. Let them watch Kim Kardashian's ass, and we can rob them and control them. We've never felt for that. We have to speak our minds. We have to be troubadours going from one town to the next, telling people what we feel. Nobody has to agree with us at all. Nobody has to listen to us. But we have the right to speak our minds. And fortunately, we have an audience that expects us to talk about real stuff that's going on in our lives, whether it's falling in love or finding something hysterical to laugh about or something that disgusts you and you need to talk about. We're incredibly lucky, and especially in America. I mean, we get to speak our minds. Half the stuff that me and David and Stephen and Neil talk about, we wouldn't have been able to do in a different country. But in America, we get to speak our minds, and it's constitutionally granted to us to be able to speak our minds and to talk about the government and what it's doing badly and what it's doing well. But we get to speak our minds, and we're very lucky people.
My last question is really straightforward. Any regrets at all?
Yes, 2. I wish I would have been there when my mother and father died. It's that simple. The rest is just a game. If my family and my friends and myself are okay, the rest is just a game to be played the best way you can with the most sense of humor and get on with it. I think part of my upbringing after World War II in England gave us that survival mechanism. I mean, you didn't know whether your house was going to be there tomorrow or your friends were going to be alive. And so that sense of it'll be all right tomorrow, just take a deep breath, it'll be okay, that stood me in good stead when I moved to America, because I want to survive. I want to make it until tomorrow. And here I am. I'm now 71 years old, and my life, one of the great things about writing Wild Tales, the autobiography, is that I can let it go now. I can get on with the rest of my life.